Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Today I have a quick and easy holiday card using a non-holiday stamp set, which is the Painted Poppies stamp set. And this also comes with dies, but we're not going to use any of the dies, and we're just going to be using this stamp. Let me show you what other supplies you're going to need to make this card. So I also have the time-worn embossing folder, and for the sentiment on the inside, I'm using Trimming the Tree, which is in the holiday catalog. And to punch out the images, I used the rectangular postage stamp, which is in the annual catalog. I'm also using two Stampin' Blends. I'm using the dark Real Red Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to also use the light Old Olive. So you would need both of those. And I'm going to stamp the images using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. For the card layers, I'm using, so we're going to use basic white for the card base. Also, and that is cut at the traditional 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then I have a Real Red layer of 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have another piece of basic white that I have already pre-embossed. Let me see, it goes this way. And this measures 5 inches by 3 3/4. Then for the inside, I have a piece of Real Red at 5 1/4 by 4, and then another piece of basic white cut at 5 inches by 3 3/4, and we'll stamp the sentiment on this piece. And then for the strip that goes across the center, this measures 5 inches by 1 inch. So the first thing I'm going to do is, oh, and you'll need a scrap of, let me see, is this going to be enough? Yeah, a scrap of basic white so we can do our stamping. And I'm going to just do my stamping. Let me see. Do I need another? You know what? I have a bigger piece over here. I'm going to use this little bit larger piece because I want to have enough space in between to be able to punch out the 3 pieces. And then you're going to need another, just a kind of a long scrap of Real Red, because we're going to just punch out 3 pieces of Real Red, which with the postage stamp punch to use as the backing. And we're going to set them off a little bit off to the side of each one so that the red shows through. So I'm going to set this aside for just a minute, and we'll do some stamping with the Real Red. I mean with the basic black, or the tuxedo black. So let me put that here. And we're not going to stamp the entire image. Let me show you again on this. So what I did was I have it so that it's just below the leaf line. So that's what I'm going to do on this piece as well. And I'm going to stamp 3 images. And then what we'll do is we'll take the Stampin' Blends and we'll color each one of them in. You don't have to worry about positioning these, you know, with the same height or anything, because they're going to get punched out anyway. set that aside. And I'm going to take my Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to use the bullet side because the image is kind of, they have small sections and I don't want to make a mess of it. So I'm using the dark Real Red just to color in these sections. And I'm not any kind of a fancy colorer. There are other demonstrators online that do a great job with coloring and shading. So if that's your thing, you can certainly follow those folks. And one person that I've followed who in that regard is Tina Wardell of Tina's Crafty Ink Spot, and she is a master colorer in my book. She's a very talented person, and so if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, then I would highly recommend jumping over to her blog or check her out on YouTube. Her name is Tina Wardell, Wardell. She's great. But if you're like me and you just want to get it done, you will like the coloring, but you're not somebody that's going to do a lot of shading, you just want to put in some color and that's it, and then get to it, well, you're my people. That's what I do. Whoops, I'm messing out this piece. And then for the leaves, I'm just using some light Old Olive. And you can also do some shading on that with some dark Old Olive. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of coloring up the stem, but I'm going to be super careful. And so as it gets skinnier at the top, I'm just kind of putting like dots all the way up. And that way I can have some control. And on this one, I'm only putting color about halfway up. I've tried just drawing a line straight up, and it goes, you know, I don't have I have a steady enough hand, but not enough for really skinny lines to not go out of the edges. So I decided just to try to do the dots going up. Okay, so this is where I'm going to do the punching. How easy is that? 1, 2, 3, and you're done. Now I'm just going to punch out 3 plain red ones as the background. I love punches. They're so easy to use, and it just gets the job done. All right, so on these, what we'll do is we'll glue them so that they're kind of offset, and that way you have a little bit of red showing through. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the kind of in the center. I'm not going to put glue all over it. And I'll do the same thing with the other two. Last one. Okay, so now we can actually start assembling. Let me get one of my phone folders and fold this. And bring my pieces into the camera, and I will put down the real red layer. Then I have my embossed layer with the time-worn embossing folder. Gives it a bit of a vintage look. Gives it some visual interest so it's not just a flat layer. Okay. Then I have my 5" by 1" strip of real red. And I'm going to put it a little bit, I'm not going to put it in the center. I'm going to put it up a little bit. Now, for this one that I did put it across the center. And then I realized when I was putting my sentiment, I did use a smaller sentiment because I said, oh, I don't really have a lot of room down there. So that's why I'm kind of pushing this up a little bit. So hopefully that's gonna, yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, you set these aside. These are for the inside. All right, now we're going to pop these up on some dimensionals. Oops, move that over. And I'm going to use, maybe overkill, I don't know. I'm going to use 3 on each one instead of just 2. So I'm going to lay these out just to see for my placement. Where do I want them? All right, I'm going to put the first one right there. Okay. Kind of a good idea to lay them down before you, before you take the backing off the dimensionals, and that way you'll know how much spacing, and before you tack it down. Okay. All right. So now I have a scrap piece for my sentiment. Let's see, and I'm going to use Happy holidays. And my real red. I had thought about backing it with some real red cardstock, and actually I tried it. I didn't like the way it looked. I thought it was just too much red. I wanted it to look kind of clean. So I'm not going to punch this out. I'm just going to cut it with my paper trimmer. Let me move this over a little bit. Trim, I'm going to just trim around it. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to take the teensiest piece off on that end. Okay, looks a little off though, doesn't it? Oof. Hold on. Yeah, that's better. Straighter. Now I'll bring this back in. And I also popped up my sentiment on dimensionals as well. Let's see. I'll put 3 on it. And see how it just kind of looks cleaner when you just put the white with the red? And you see how when you push these up a little, just a little bit, it gives you more room. See, on this one, I had it in the middle, and so I almost feel like the sentiment was a little crammed. It still looks good, but this one I had a lot of room, and I like the way that looks. All right, now on the inside, let's see, what did I put on the inside? I said, may your season, oh, okay, so it's the same, same stamp set, the trimming the tree, and I used that sentiment. So we'll take that out. And let me see, I have another, I have a different stamp on this because I was doing something else with it. Okay. Move things over, give myself some room. And I'm going to stamp it at the top because I like to have the middle section to write the sentiment. There we go. I'm going to leave the red ink open because I'm going to stamp the image of the, oh, you know what, I didn't mean to do that. Because I want to color it in with, I'm going to stamp it with black, and I just put red ink on it, so I don't want the red ink on it. So I want the black, tuxedo black. Okay. And I'm going to color in the poppy. Same way we did for the ones in the front. I'm using the dark real red. The light real red is just a little too pink, and I wanted it to be red. Okay, and then I want to bring in my green, my old olive. And I'm just using the light old olive for this one because I didn't want it to be too dark. Just dabbing it again to make sure I don't go all out of the lines. Okay. I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. Now, you know what I didn't do? Oh, here, I'll do it this way. I want to put it on the red. I'm going to give it a back rub. And now we'll put glue on this one. And then layer it inside. Okay. That way you have a little pop of color on the inside. Again, I'm going to give it a back rub. I don't know. I do this when I'm not sure if I have ink on my fingers, and I would hate to ruin the card by putting a splotch on it. So, there we have it. Simple, easy card using the Painted Poppies. I'm probably gonna do more with this because I'm not sure. I mean, they're having it around for a couple of years. Not sure if they're gonna carry it over. I really like it, so I think I may make some more while we still have it. And then the sentiments from Trimming the Tree, great stamp set. And as always, the Time Worn embossing folder. I love all the embossing folders, but every now and then Stampin' Up goes above and beyond, and this one is a fantastic embossing folder. I just can't say enough about it. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope that you enjoy my content, and if you do, please click the like button, maybe even subscribe to my channel. Pop over to my blog, Silver Ladies Stamping, and I'm going to have this card over on my blog, and I'm going to have all the dimensions, but I'm going to also put a link here down below for the supplies that you would need to purchase in order to make this card. But again, I so appreciate you and appreciate the fact that you decided to join me today, and I hope you'll join me next time. Thanks, and bye for now.